it's throwing a bit of a different kind of light to this thoughts about, oh, a lot of fathers out there are just not keen, they're just not interested in being part of their children's life, especially if a child has a form of disability or special needs. And I'm taking that, even me, this is a learning point for me as well, in especially in what you said again now, Mark, about the fact that the thinking is, and that's what, and you said it again as well now, just a lie, about the fact that the thinking is coming from the fact that you want to be the strong one. As a father, you want to be the strong one. You feel, just like you use the word responsible, that you're responsible for the family, and in doing that, some just feel what I need to do is to be strong for the family, to provide for the family, to kind of carry everybody. And unfortunately, they get sunken into that. The guilt factor come in as well, that you're not putting in hands-on into the child and probably needs it. So where do you draw the line? How can, because one of the reason why our focus in the organization, in this month is on fathers, is to see if it could help 1, 2, 3 families to, and especially the fathers, to see that they're not alone, and that there are other fathers who are also in the same boat, and they're doing some things a little bit differently. So you've said a lot in there, and what can help? What can help?
If I would come in there, I think some of the things that can help is, just like Mark said, having a safe place to let it out. Now, my safe place is my quiet place. When I wake up in the morning, or when I'm with the Lord, or I'm in the bathroom, or I'm somewhere alone, I let it out to him, and I let him know my frustrations, my fears, my my stress. I let it all out there. Now, I think the major challenge with a lot of blokes out there is where that avenue does not exist. Then it piles up, and suddenly there's this explosion that just makes them, I need to get away from this, I'm losing it, and they just walk away. Personally, I think that's really what's happening. So if there's no avenue to let it out, I mean, as we were talking, and as Mark was talking about dads, is it Dads on Fire you mentioned, or I can't remember
Dad's
now?
Fire Circle, yeah.
Dad's Fire Circle, yeah. I put that down, and I was like, okay, I'm going to check this out, because to be honest, that form of that platform, that safe space where you can voice it out. I mean, for the wife, they come to you. Oh, I'm stressed. AJ, I'm stressed. This is it, and all of that. Your children come to you as the dad, but who do you go to? I think that's the thing. And then, so for me, I think it's about having that safe place, that place where you can let it out, and nobody judges you, nobody tells you you're wrong, and you can get meaningful counsel. Because when I let go in my quiet place, fortunately for me, like I said, I know Christ, and he points me and he lets me know bits and pieces of what to do to keep it together.
No, I think that's good. That's good. Absolutely agree with you, AJ. There, I think there are two things really, just to sort of add to this, which again, from just just experience of talking with dads. One thing is something we're usually good at, but can't do anything right with in the situation we find ourselves in. And then one thing that we're rubbish at, but need to get better at. So the thing that we're usually good at is fixing things. guys are the people that, often, people bring stuff to, oh, this is broken, can you mend it? We're the fix it guys. We're the guys that mend things, that put things together when they're broken, that make things work, that sort things out. We can't do that with our kids that have additional needs. We can't mend them. We can't fix them. We love them to bits, and we love them to bits for who they are, but it can break a lot of guys that there's nothing they can do to make things better for their child. They can't mend the pain their child has, or the struggles their child has, or the fact that their child gets bullied because of their additional needs, or all those things. And that tears guys apart, because they're the guys that fix things and make things work. And then the thing that we're, and it is a big stereotype, and I know there are guys out there that are good at this, but the vast majority of us guys, we're not great at talking about stuff. We're not great about sharing how we feel. Feelings, no, we don't do feelings, and actually we need to get better at that. We need to get better at talking about stuff and talking about how we feel and sharing about it. And that links in, AJ, to what you're talking about, those safe places where guys can just share with other guys that get it, that understand, that have been there, that they've got the t-shirt themselves. And as you've also referenced, that safe place to talk about things is with God, and to know that he hears us too. And I think it needs both of those things. We need to share stuff with God. And somebody once asked me, is it wrong to be cross and angry with God? I said, hey, David was angry with God all the time, and he's one of the greats, so if it's good enough for David, I can do some shouting too. So we can tear it up with God a bit, sometimes, and we can tear it up a bit with each other as guys, and talk about stuff and share how we're feeling. And what that does is two things. That old saying that a problem shared is a problem halved is true.
Yeah.
You talk about stuff, it feels better. Somebody else knows. Somebody else has got your back, with that a little bit, and that means a lot. And it's so important to be able to do that. But also, what you can often find is that when you share about stuff with a bunch of people, somebody will say, hey, we were there a couple of years ago, and we tried this, and we contacted these people, and they were massively helpful. And suddenly you've got some things that you can do, some things that you can try and positively take forward. And that plays to that ticks all our guy boxes. Suddenly we've got some stuff we can do, and that makes a difference too. So yeah, we need to get better at talking about it with God and talking about it with each other.
Thank you so much for that. I think that's so valuable in needing to talk, because one of the questions I actually have, for both of you really is, we talk, easily we talk to one another, we cha, you could call another mom, or you're meeting yourselves at the gate, whether you know yourselves from Adam or not, you just find a way. You're in the shops, you can find something to say. But that is difficult for guys to do. And so one of the questions, and that's one of the things you've touched on really, is where do you both go to, in terms of talking or letting things out? Who do you talk to, especially when it comes to dealing with these issues of disabilities or special needs of your child? And that's so valuable, that both of you have said that, that safe place. Even though I would have loved to tease on Gisela's safe place a little bit, because yes, you talk to God, but what if I'm even, again, like Mark said, angry with God in the first place? How could he, yes, if he's that almighty, especially even difficult for me that I'm a Christian, if he's that almighty and I'm praying and my child is not fixed, what do I then, why is he my safe place? So, how can he be my safe place if he, in the first place, is not talking to he's not fixing my child?
Well, I think it also borders on your understanding of that we're in. I think it borders on the understanding we have about who we are and the fact that it didn't say that we wouldn't pass through the fire. It didn't say that we wouldn't get burned or get into deep waters or get into difficult situations. The only thing is that showed us off is that he will be there with us.
Mm.
And so I think what keeps me going is that confidence that he's with me, and whatever happens, as long as he's with me, I can take anything that comes my way. So that's a personal conviction. That's a personal thing for me that I've carried on with ever since I became a Christian. And I think it's actually the anchor. It's actually what has kept me as a person, what has kept me going on. That fact that regardless of what happens, as long as I get to my quiet place and I know that he's there and I know that he's still with me, oh no, I can take anything at all.
Mm. Yeah, amen to that. And yeah, I totally agree with what AJ's sharing there. I think yeah, God puts us in places where he wants us to serve, and in places where we can make a difference to other people. I look at the stuff that I do, and I'm so thankful for the reach that can have, and the people that helps and supports. And I look at that and I think, would any of that have happened if we didn't have a child with additional needs in our family? And the honest answer is probably no. I'd still be working in some IT job or telecoms job somewhere, and we'd have that life. But would we be impacting the lives of people and helping them on the journey that they're on? Not really. So God puts us in places where we can serve, and uses the experiences that come our way to help us to help others. I often say when maybe doing some like training on how to support children and young people with additional needs in church, for example, there are certain things that you can train on, that you can just open a book, read a book, learn it, understand it, stand up and deliver some training on it. That's not the case with this stuff. You've got to live this. You've got to live this. You've got to have the stories. You've got to have the experiences, and so when you've got some parents and carers and that are asking you about your understanding of these things, you can say, hey, I'm there, lived it, got the t-shirt. This is what we did, and it's not out of a book, and it's not off the web. It's out of our lived experience of going through this stuff, and so God's used that in our lives. God's used that. He's redeemed that. He's helped us to use our experiences to help others, and and that makes such a difference to us, because it gives us that positive outlook on all that that we're living through. We're thinking, hey, even on those the times that I've said when we've just had one of those days where it's just been a complete train wreck of a day, and we've just got to the end of the day, and I've exhaustedly laughed and said, well, hey, if nothing else, there's a great blog post that's going to come out of this. And it is, that's how that's how I get through. That's how I look at stuff, as hey, there's always something. There's a book that I read by a lady called Anne Voskamp, and I'm trying to see if I've got it up here somewhere. I think I might have it somewhere. No, I haven't got it here. It's a great book. I think it's something like 1,000 Blessings or something like that. It's called Anne Voskamp. And what she encourages people to do that are just living through a storm in their life, and particularly the kind of stuff we're talking about, is to try and find 3 things a day to be thankful for. 3 things to give thanks for. And it could have been the most terrible day, and so many things have gone wrong. But actually, to just find 3 things and be thankful for them. And hey, what I did, because I started doing that. We were just going through some really, really tough times. James was unable to leave home, leave the house, to go anywhere, to do anything, and that lasted for over a year. And it was really tough during that time. And so what I was doing was each day finding those 3 things, and sometimes that was really hard. Sometimes there were plenty, but sometimes it was really hard. And I would just write them down, just very quickly journal them. And you know what? Over a year, if you do that every day, you get 1,000 things that you've been able to give thanks for in that year. 1,000 things. And I'd then look back through that journal, on those tough days and think, look at all this. Look at how God's blessed us each day. Day after day, week after week, month after month. Like I say, after a year, you've got 1,000 of them. And it just changes the perspective, changes the view, because then you start looking for those things. You think, oh, what are my 3 things going to be today? And you start looking for them. And instead of being overwhelmed by all the negative stuff and all the stuff that's going wrong, you start looking for those 3 things that you're going to give thanks for. And actually, quite often you find that, you've got to start thinking, okay, which ones don't I write down? Because I've got many more than 3 today, So that was really transforming and made such a difference for us.
That's so phenomenal, though, and I've written that down. I think I can add that to my books as well. 3 things a day.
I would. That's
counting your blessings, isn't that? I mean, counting your blessing, looking for the silver lining.
It's called
every
1,000
day.
Gifts. I've just found the title. It's called 1,000 Gifts. Anne Voskamp. ANNVOSKAMP. Anne Voskamp.
Okay.
Really great.
That would be a good go-to. That would be a good go-to. Thank you so much for all those valuable nuggets. It's wonderful. And like you said, there will always, and that's one thing I found as well, there will always be a difference between, what you've read in books, or you've searched on internet, besides what you have experienced. And that's what the Bible says, that the things that we have learned, the things that we have seen, the things that our hands have handled out of the issues of life, you're able to, and the comfort that you receive, you're able to comfort other people from there, because it's coming from a place of knowing, isn't it? And that always tilts it. It makes a difference.
And it's whether the outlook you've got is that looking inward to yourself and the struggles that you're going through, and how tough it is for you, and how you're really unhappy with that, or it's about looking outwards and thinking, okay, how can I use this? How can God use this in a positive way? There's it can sometimes be controversial. Some people look at this story in a different way, but there's a story by an American woman called Emily Pearl Kingsley, called Welcome to Holland. Do you know
Welcome to Holland.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
And look it up if you're watching this, and read it. The real short précis of it is you end up on an unexpected journey. You think you're going to Italy, and you end up in Holland.
You end up somewhere else.
You end up somewhere else unexpectedly, and you find yourself in the arrivals hall in Amsterdam airport, and you don't know why you're there. You don't know how you got there. You don't know what's going on. And actually, I've met lots and lots and lots of parent carers, in that metaphorical arrivals hall, and they broadly split into two groups. There's a group of them that are angry about being there, that maybe are in denial about being there. They don't want to be there. They're not there. You know, in their mind, they've got to be somewhere else because that's where they intended to be. And, you know, they can't believe that they're now somewhere else, that the place they're at. And they refuse to accept it, and they refuse to find anything good in it at all. And then there's another, and what they do is they're essentially they're demanding to be taken to the place that they can never go, and they'll never be, you know. But that's, you know, and that's a tough place, tough sort of place for them to be. But then the other group are people that have realised where they are, realised that okay, there's no going to the other place. You know, you're not going to Italy. That's not going to happen. You're in Amsterdam. You're in Holland. Maybe make the most of it and wander blinking out into the Amsterdam sunshine and find that, hey, you know what? Holland's got canals, and it's got windmills, and it's got tulip fields, and it's got Rembrandts, and it's got beautiful things, different stuff to what Italy's got, but it can still be a great place to go and explore together. And it's a mindset. You know, which mindset have you got? Is it that inward looking, inward focused, all the stuff that's hard and all the stuff that you know you're angry about, or are you gonna look outwards and go, hey, you know what, let's make the most of this, let's find those 10,000 gifts, those 1,000 gifts in a year, you know, and be thankful for those, and let's go and explore this place that we're in, and find out more about it. And that's a much better, healthier place for anybody to be in.
For anyone to be. Thank you so much.
Oh, you are exalted. You are exalted.